This tutorial we're going to cover working with inventory on a purchase order, and that would be this section right here for inventory. And what it does is whenever you select a part number from the drop down here, or when you're editing a product an item here, it's going to populate these fields with the number of that part number, the number that you currently have in stock as inventory, the number that you have on order for inventory, the total number of committed sales orders that are using that part number, and also the all jobs that have that part number on a purchase order, and then the number that have already been received. And you have this button here to show POs, which we'll get to in just a second. And what this is, we covered this in the tutorial for inventory on sales orders, but we'll go over it again here. We have basically 4 different types of part types. We have assembly, inventory part, non-inventory part, and service. This kind of coincides with how QuickBooks handles inventory. We eliminated on sales orders and estimates, we had a checkbox that you would check, like for a 3-sided frame, if it has components. And then you were able to enter or edit the components to go with that part number, that typically a 3-sided frame. And so we've eliminated that has components, and we've changed it to assembly now. So any item that's selected as an assembly will be something like a 3-sided frame that has components. Inventory part is something that you, physical part that you put on a shelf somewhere in your warehouse that you inventory for resale. And then you have non-inventory part, which is basically pretty much the same thing. It's a physical part you put on a shelf, but it's there for a specific job or for a customer. An inventory part is counted as your inventory whenever you take that, and non-inventory typically is not counted as inventory. But of course, you'll have to check with your accountant to see with CPA or whoever you use on how you should handle things like that. And then the 4th item here is service. That's anything that's non-tangible, things like labor, welding charges, things like that. You can't put it on a shelf somewhere. And so those are basically the 4 types, the changes that we've made on that. So the way this works is, I believe this is a purchase order to Curry. So we'll continue with Curry's parts as a manufacturer. And let's just do a hollow metal door. We'll take this 3068. And you can see as soon as I selected it, it populated and it says we don't have any in stock. There are none on stock for order. And that's for an inventory part. There are 15 orders, or there are orders with a total of 15 of this item on those orders. And then there's a total of 20 that are on order, on POs somewhere in the system. And none of those have been received yet. And with this button here, what we can do is take a look at the POs, all the other POs. We click this button, looks like there's only one. And there's 20 of them on order. And it's for this job right here. So these are designated for this job. So on this order, let's say we're going to order 10. If we leave this as the job, if we leave it as stock, then it'll be designated as an inventory part. Now you should have stock in your drop down for jobs. That was built in when you got Portal Pro. If for some reason it's not there anymore, let us know and we'll get it added back in. But that's to designate your inventory items. If you select anything else in this list other than stock, what's going to happen is it'll change this part type to non-inventory, because now you're ordering these parts for a specific job. And again, you need to check with your accountant or CPA on if this is how you should be handling it as far as inventory. But to our understanding, that's pretty much the way QuickBooks handles it as far as an inventory item and non-inventory. So you can see, this makes the change for you automatically here. And this is based on the quantity too, on how it's designated. Now you can change this any way you like. If you want this to be Subaru of Beechmont and you want it to be an inventory item, well, go ahead and select inventory. That's strictly up to you. But these are just the recommended ways that it should default to. But nothing's written in stone. So any way you want to run your business. So go ahead and close this out. Okay, so again, it changed it to, well, I changed it back. But if we select this again, you can see it changed it back to non-inventory part. Now, any other part, let's see, Curry's, I don't know if there's anything under labor under Curry's. No, there's not. So let's try, well, let's just do show all. I'm not sure what category it's under. But I'm going to select bundling, because this is something that's typically added to the cost of a three-sided frame when you order it from Curry's. So when you select something like bundling, you can see it changed the part type to service. That's how it's saved in the system. And you really shouldn't change that. You should leave it as is. So you can see nothing is counted as far as inventory. Now if you order three-sided frames, then let's go back here, we'll do frames, and we'll just grab any frame, it doesn't really matter. You can see the frame here comes up as assembly. That means it's made up of components. Now with a purchase order, typically you don't order the full three-sided frame if you're working with components, because that frame is not counted in inventory. You can see everything is set to 0. It's the components themselves that are counted in inventory. And you can see that better on a purchase order because, I'm sorry, on a sales order, because you have the option to view those components. Whereas on a purchase order, you don't. Now, if your company typically always orders in three-sided frame only, and that's how you count your inventory or non-inventory parts or whatever, you can make a change to Portal Pro. And you would do that by coming under this inventory control. Let's just pull up Curry's. And we'll just get all the parts for right now. You can see it shows right here how each part is labeled. Inventory, if we scroll down to here, there's all the three-sided frames. Those are labeled as assembly. And then you also have the things like components right here. Those are marked as an inventory part. Now, you can globally change how all these parts are designated. That's strictly up to you. And one way you could do it, let's say you wanted your frames to be you don't want to be used as assemblies and have to worry about the components, because maybe, like I said, you order them as three-sided frames. Now you can change that to an inventory part on a purchase order or whatever. It's again, It's not locked in stone. But if you want to change everything, one thing you can do is we'll go. Let's just select the frames. It'll make it a lot easier. Do you want to continue? Yes. So now we have all the three-sided frames that are currently in the system. And they're all marked as assembly. So what I can do is we'll go ahead and we'll select all of these. And then we can come over here to the part type drop-down, and I can select assembly part and then click update part, and it'll update all of these to an inventory part. And when that happens, when I'm in a sales order or estimate and I select a three-sided frame, it will no longer show. You will not have access to the components, and you save the frame as a three-sided frame only. And that's how it's counted in inventory, how it's counted whatever. So that's strictly up to you. That option is there. Now this inventory control form, there's a tutorial on that goes in a little more depth for all these other fields, which we won't get into right now. But I just wanted to point out how you can change the part type to any individual item or to all the items. It's up to you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close that. Okay, let's see what else we have. Yeah, another thing you want to keep in mind too, these numbers can change in an instant. Let's go back to doors. Actually, let's just go ahead and we'll open up this one. This is a door here. So you can see this item, when I load it, it says there are 20 on order, 10 committed, and 35 on purchase orders. And again, I can click show POs. Looks like there's 3 different POs. So if you add these up, that comes to 35. And these are the different job names. So that's what each one of these are for. It looks like right there's 20 of them for stock. So there's our 20 right there. And any one of these you can open up. If I double click this line, it's going to open up that PO 74890. I can come over to the product information, take a look at it. There's the doors on order. If there's anything I need to do this, I can do it now. Okay, so that's how you get to the different POs. I believe that should cover everything I need to talk about as far as working with inventory. Purchase orders, so it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions or concerns about any of this, please give us a call or email. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Thanks.